What's up, Steam Deck lovers? Steam Deck mob and universe was good. Got some news for you. Listen to this from Eurogamer. It says here, Valve quietly readying Half-Life 2 for Steam Deck with big new beta branch update, also adding ultra-wide support, FOV boost, and more. It says yesterday Valve unveiled a new compatibility rating system for Steam Deck intended to give users a clear indication of how well specific Steam games will run on the upcoming portable gaming PC. And now a new beta update for Half-Life 2 has been discovered, seemingly released to ensure the similar FPS meets the requirement need to earn the Steam Deck top tier verified compatibility badge. Half-Life 2 beta branch update, as detailed by Valve watcher Tyler McVicker on his YouTube channel, reportedly covered a surprising amount of ground, not only making adjustment to the way the UI, user interface, and resolution are handled in the game, primarily to ensure the FPS classify fits Steam Deck's aspect ratio and remain legible as its relatively diminutive size, but addressing some long-standing bugs as well. Says here details on the latter are limited, but McVicker does highlight a few of the beta updates' new UI and resolution scaling features. Perhaps most prominent, Steam Deck Half-Life 2 HUD is now unlocked and can scale perfectly to whatever aspect ratio it being played on. Additionally, there's ultra-wide support plus FOV increase up to 110. And then it says here, McVicker also observed that Valve has added support for the Vulkan rendering API, helping Half-Life 2 playing nicely with Steam Deck, Linux-based system, SteamOS operating system. And given that Portal similarly received Vulkan support earlier this year, it seems reasonable to assume Valve is aiming to get the bulk of its back catalog stamped with a Steam Deck verified badge where feasible ahead of the machine's December launch. And it says you can read more about Valve's Steam Deck compatibility rating, which will see every game on Steam categorized as either verified, playable, unsupported, or unknown. And then it got 11 comments here, but there's more than 11 comments, but I'm gonna try to get through them. One person says, but we know that, no, one person says that could call it Half-Life 3, but we all know that Valve can't count to 3. so it did be Half-Life 0 or something. Another person here says, would be nice if Valve remembered they used to make games at one point and gave us a 4K 60 frames per second remaster of the Orange Box. Another person here says the Orange Box remaster would be nice. Personally, I'd rather have an Orange Box with Half-Life 3, Team Fortress 3, and Portal 3. Another person here says, isn't the Orange Box just some Valve games bundled together? Pretty much all of them are already 4K 60 frames per second and will run smoothly on the deck. Or do you mean just an update on the console version of the game? Another person says here, took the words out of my mouth. I love the Orange Box, but have yet to play a decent version. He must be talking about the PlayStation 3 and 360. Anyway, another person says they released Half-Life last year. That's Alex. Easily the best game of this generation, and a game I think would be viewed by future generation in the same way we view Super Mario 64. Another person says they have already released Half-Life, Alex, last year, and you wouldn't want them to release 2 games per decade. That would be a lot considering their usual output. Yeah. Another person here says here, absolutely, that games like Half-Life and Left 4 Dead haven't been remasters is a genuine shame, especially as Valve seem to be happy to let them now rot with no intentions of developing sequels. They might be developing sequels, so be careful. Another person here says, imagine if Half-Life 3 was surprise exclusive to Steam Deck. That could work. Another person here say, no, I can't imagine that. Another comment here. This article is on Eurogamer, by the way. Another person says here, this is all just what we need to make any Valve hardware project a success. Steam Machine would have sold if Half-Life 3 was exclusive. Steam Deck will sell if Half-Life 3 is exclusive. Hell, if they made Half-Life 3 exclusive to the Game Boy, they would sell millions, but Valve have almost zero interest in making games anymore. I hope Half-Life Alyx was the start of the machine running again, but now all is silent again. Another person here says, was going to say the same thing. It would be a big deal, to say the least. Another person here says, considering that every single piece of media that Valve has put out, there was about the Steam Deck, insists on the fact that it is a PC it would be a PC exclusive. You know what? They might have another Half-Life and Left 4 Dead. They just haven't said nothing. You just never know what Valve got up their sleeves. Another person says here, they would make it hardware exclusive because they are awesome, but I could see it being a Steam Deck exclusive without console ports. Could also see it being on everything. Another person here says, I think it worth mentioning that it also applies to Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and Half-Life 2 Episode 2. And for the nerds who want to get technical, the Vulkan implementation is using DXVK native and currently requiring passing Vulkan as a launch option. Otherwise, it will run OpenGL Linux or DirectX Windows. Another person says, Half-Life 3 confirmed. Another person here says, I really think Half-Life 3 will be coming fairly soon. Will be the next game Valve announced, and will not be a VR game. Just the stuff they said the last few years make me believe it. Another person says here, is it really quietly updating? If every game website is reporting on it. Another person here says, if they don't announce it themselves, then yes. Another person here says, I know I was extremely niche, but Valve has already produced a port of Half-Life 2 for a small portable console before. The original clamshell NVIDIA Shield had a native port of Half-Life 2 in Portal, adjusted to work well on a small but widescreen display with mobile controls. Another person here says, I am very excited for Steam Deck. I can finally play these PC-only classic I have heard so much about. Been quite adding games to my collection in anticipation. Think I start with Portal first. Another person here says, McVicker also observed that Valve has added support for Vulkan rendering API, helping Half-Life 2 play nice with Steam Deck, Linux-based Steam OS operating system, and given that Portal 2 similarly received Vulkan support earlier this year. Wait, Steam OS came out years ago. Here, Valve seriously only just made their own two most prestigious games compatible with it, or did I misunderstand that? Another person here says, these games are ported to Linux many years ago using TOGL to translate D3, D9 to OpenGL, adding DXVK native to translate to Vulkan, presumably help with performance and possibly power consumption on Steam Deck. Not that they run badly using OpenGL. Portal 2 could render several hundred, sometimes close to 1,000 FPS on a nowadays MediaCore desktop gaming PC running Steam OS, or pretty much any GNU Linux distribution. Then another person here says, that makes a lot more sense. Another person says here, would be really interesting to see Digital Foundry-like comparison of Half-Life 2 and other games running on Linux, but comparison of 1 native Steam OS with native Vulkan API, 2 native Steam OS with TOGL translating direct 3D 9.0 to OpenGL. 3, option number 3 is Windows with Vulkan API both running via Proton. Option 4, Windows and Direct 3D 9.0 running via Proton. If the entire Valve catalog that has Linux version which is soon to be, if not already, all titles, is sample. It should give a good indicator of the overhead of emulation layer translation. And next person says, something nice that Valve could do is add control support for Half-Life 1 and its expansion. Another person here says, the game technically already supports ultra-wide, but it's so not ideal. It can be fixed by changing FOV, but that requires using the console and some CFG edits. Having it as an option is certainly better. I wonder if they will do the same with Half-Life 1 as well. And another last two comments, another person here says, I have tried to install the beta branch in Windows, but got very strange results. The new FOV option do appear in the menus, but the frame rate is all over the place in the teens and 20s when the game usually looks to its 300 frames per second cap. If I turn on VSync off and the mouse doesn't work. Another person here says, last comment, another person here says, it is still December launch, but my estimate delivery date has changed from the fourth quarter 2021 to the first quarter 2022 very recently. So anyway, these are those people giving their inputs on the Half-Life for the Steam Deck. And Valve is just Half-Life 2 will be playable on the Steam Deck, but I would not be surprised if Valve has a Left 4 Dead that they were working on and nobody knew about it, or they might have a Portal 2, or they might have even a Half-Life 3 that they had and nobody knew about it. So with this Steam Deck, you don't know what Valve is coming out with next, so the best thing to do is just to wait and see. But these were just people giving their inputs on and inputs on what they think Valve should do and stuff like that. But you best believe that Valve was looking at these comments too, and hearing what people saying. So they got their hands, Valve got their hands full, Some people want Left 4 Dead, some people want the new Portal, some people want Half-Life 3. So yeah, Valve got their work cut out for them. There was another article that I seen where Valve was hiring people to check the Steam Deck game compatibility. So Valve got their hands full. December is what October, November, December. They got another month. They got another month and a couple of weeks before they can. They got like about a week and another month before December gets here. So you best believe that they're working around the clock to get things done, man. So yeah, Valve is trying to make sure everything goes right with the Steam Deck. So this thing has ultra wide support for the Steam Deck, so you can play it on a widescreen TV. It got FOV boost and all that, man. And then for all you Linux users, you're very familiar with how Linux works. So this Steam Deck is really for you when you really look at it, because Windows really don't need us. Windows really didn't need the Steam Deck. I think the Steam Deck was more for PC users, because for Linux users, because a lot of Linux users can't play PC games. So so the Steam Deck is like a bridge to where Linux users can use the Steam Deck to play more PC games. Even though they have Proton and Wine, they still have compatibility issues. So Valve created this, the Steam Deck. For Linux users, but for people who like to play PC games, maybe on the move. So yeah. this was good looking out on their part, but this also helped Apple users too, and PC users can play the game too. But hey, PC gamers got their hands full with the amount of games they're getting. But other than that, man, you know, this Steam Deck, you know, they're working on like the user interface performance, stuff like that, man. You know, 4K support, all that, you know. So this little device like this, it's gonna come packed with a whole bunch of features, man. It's packed, and it's like, okay, I can connect it to a monitor and just play. So yeah, Steam Deck looks pretty impressive, man, on paper. And like the developers say, they can't find a game that the Steam Deck can't run, and that was huge. When you really look at it, you can't find a game that the Steam Deck can't run. Whew, that was huge news, man. You know, and that was huge news for the Linux users and for PC users, PC users, man. That was huge when they announced that they cannot find a game that the Steam Deck can't run. And then the Steam Deck got the anti-cheat support. So yeah, Valve is right now trying to get shuffle the deck and get things in order, you know, for the release of this. But man, yeah, but that was huge when they said they can't find a game that the Steam Deck can't run. That was huge, real huge. And then Steam Deck got, and then Steam got a whole catalog of games to support that device. Yeah. And then you got the anti-cheat support with Proton and Wine, and you're good to go. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's it's gonna be interesting to see how the Steam Deck does, man. But by the looks of it, you know, I think the way technology is right now, you know, I think the Steam Deck is gonna be fine. Just from my perspective, from what I've read and, you know, what I've been reading up on, you know. So yeah, but Valve's got their work cut out for them, you know, just within these next couple of weeks, within these next 5 to 6 weeks, trying to get stuff in order. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing, or Dark Side. Gone. Peace.